Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, former Congresswoman Shelley Berkley running for Las Vegas mayor. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers. Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot hardware store and a whole lot more. It's your spring headquarters with lawn and garden supplies, power equipment, and outdoor living. Big R on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. Big R, hardware, and a whole lot more.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas, in downtown Las Vegas. And I want to welcome to the program one of my favorite people, Congresswoman Shelley Berkley.
Sam, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Always a pleasure to see you.
And this is quite a very respectable place to have a recording.
Indeed, we're in the penthouse here, and it's set up as a beautiful studio. Thank you. So I want to start out because you're going to be leaving Touro University in just a couple of weeks. Before we get started on the mayoral campaign, tell me about the state of medicine in our country and in our state.
Well, it's challenged. You know, I will be completing almost 10 years as the head of 2 universities that have medical programs, medical school, and Touro, Nevada is the largest medical school in the state of Nevada. We are graduating 180 students, future doctors, every year. This year, all 180 match, so they're all going into residency programs, which of course—
Here in Nevada?
50 of them will be staying.
That's great.
And, you know, I was up at the legislature and speaking with the governor and the legislators to get more money for residency programs, graduate medical education. The more residencies we have here in the state of Nevada, the more medical students will stay. And national statistics prove that 70% of doctors end up practicing where they do their residencies. So the more residencies the state of Nevada can create and get funded, the more future doctors will be homegrown. So between UNLV, who's at 60 now, I think they're going to be, they're aspiring to get to 120 students eventually. Roseman is still getting their accreditation. UNR is about 60 students every year that they're graduating. And Touro, which is the largest with 180, we don't have a medical student shortage. We have a physician shortage. Best way to solve that: grow our own, have residency programs here in Nevada that our students will stay for. So I'm optimistic that we can get this job done. And, you know, the biggest challenge we have throughout the United States, but it's particularly acute here in Nevada, is lack of primary care physicians.
Right.
60% of the students that Touro is graduating are going into primary care. So we are doing exactly what our mission is intended to do. We are educating the next generation of healthcare providers for the state of Nevada. And the medical school is in addition to the physician assistant program. We graduate 80 students a year, physical therapy doctorate, occupational therapy doctorate, advanced nursing degrees, and a Master of Health Science program. So we are working very hard to meet the needs of our fellow citizens.
How do you feel about the number of PAs that doctors' offices are using? And in addition to that, you've got pharmacists now doing lots of things that used to be done in doctors' offices. Yes. Are you good with that? A
scope of practice is expanding exponentially. There's no doubt about that. With the PAs, as you know, they're physician assistants. They have to be supervised. In the state of Nevada, not throughout the United States, there are states that have given physician assistants a very high degree of independence where they don't have to be supervised by a physician. In Nevada, they still have to be supervised, but I would hope that the legislature in future sessions, because we've requested this and we haven't quite gotten there yet, right now is a 3-to-1 ratio. For every 3 physician assistants, there's 1 physician that is supervising them. I believe we could go up to 5, 7, or 10, and this way we could have more. It's the most sought after profession in medicine right now are physician assistants, but I think perhaps a greater degree of autonomy would not in any way jeopardize our patient population. Quite the contrary, they're very well trained, and many times you go into a physician's office, you ask for the physician assistant because the doctor is very busy, you want to see somebody, and the physician assistants are very well trained.
You know what's funny is I like seeing the PAs because the PAs seem to be more concerned about you and your health, whereas the doctors in a lot of cases are part of the management of the company and they're busy doing other things beyond just medicine. And so I think
they're
the
busy.
PAs...
Look, I mean, there's tremendous, if you're going to be reimbursed by insurance or reimbursed by Medicare, there's a tremendous need to see as many patients as possible. And there's so many, even so many doctors' offices. And I know, you know, my husband is a physician, right. My stepdaughter is a physician, so we do medicine in our family. It takes weeks, if not months, to get in to see a physician. So if you've got a perfectly well qualified physician assistant or nurse practitioner, that's where you're going to get your health care needs met. And I agree with you. They they take a lot of time with you. They are obviously interested in you as a patient, and you get very good care.
In the 1960s in Britain, where I grew up, it was interesting that they advertised in the Caribbean for nurses and bus drivers because there was such a shortage.
Oh, yes.
Does it bother you greatly that, you know, we have such a need in the medical field, especially here in a state like Nevada, and yet our immigration system is so messed up that we can't reach out to other countries like the Philippines, where...
And we do, though, Sam. I know that there's a number of practicing nurses here in the state of Nevada, among other healthcare professions. I don't want to make it only nurses, where the Filipino community is making a tremendous contribution. And I still, before we bring in, and I'm very, very involved with the medical community, and we have remarkable doctors that trained overseas, obviously, and are here now as American citizens practicing medicine. And I think that's a very, very important. I don't know what we do if they weren't coming over. However, especially for the state of Nevada, I mean, we've got 120 and 180, so 300 future doctors every year graduating from Nevada schools. Let's do the residency programs here and let them stay here and practice medicine. And I think that will also go a long way in solving our physician shortage. And it's acute, there's no doubt about it, but that certainly is part of the solution.
Okay, one other quick question. We'll get to the whole mayoral thing in a minute, and I know you're going to be back many, many times.
I'm going through separation anxiety for a Toro, so I very happily talk about this all day.
All right, so one last thing, telemedicine. Are you happy with the increase that we've seen because of COVID? Not because of COVID itself, but because of COVID allowing that.
I think that jump-started it quite a bit.
Yeah, so...
look, I have a little experience with this. We have a medical clinic as part of Touro University, where my professors, who are doctors, are also seeing seeing patients in our medical clinic alongside our students that are doing rotations with their professors. We had to close. Obviously, our clinic when we were in the midst of COVID, in the midst of the pandemic, and we did switch to telemedicine. There's a tremendous use for telemedicine. It obviously doesn't solve all of our problems, and there are occasions where you absolutely must see your doctor. But for minor things or repetitive things, if you can do telemedicine and talk to a healthcare provider and get your questions answered, I'm all for it. Give people an opportunity to speak with a medical professional. And I even see, we've got 3 mobile medical clinics attached to the school. We go down to Shade Tree and Catholic Charities and Under the Bridge, where the chronically homeless are, and we deliver basic health care. Sometimes, and I've noticed this, sometimes people just want the assurance from a medical professional that they're okay.
Right.
Or that, and especially, well, I wouldn't say especially, but with our senior population, we were going to a number of senior facilities. And oftentimes, our seniors, they didn't have a serious medical problem, but they just so enjoyed talking to the students, making sure that, these are the right meds, that they're not mixing poorly with each other and causing a negative reaction. But just the opportunity to go to the mobile clinic and sit down and talk with somebody, I think in many instances just made their day and made them feel better, just knowing they were okay.
I know from the doctors I talk to that loneliness among seniors is a big issue.
It's a huge issue, and we saw it. I mean, I think that's why there's an increase in the incidence of mental health issues since the pandemic. We were isolated in our homes, and even though I was on Zoom all day running 2 medical schools, the fact that we were somewhat isolated, I think had an effect on me as well. So I think that's very much what people were feeling. If you're alone and you're not interacting, human beings are very social people, and we need the interaction of our fellow human beings and our animals to make us feel better. That's who we are as a species, and I think that a number of people had serious side effects, and loneliness was part of that.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to be seeing the effects of this for a long time to come.
I agree with you.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about your run for mayor of Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with former Congresswoman Shelley Berkley. She served 7 terms in Congress, 14 years, and is now a candidate for mayor of the city of Las Vegas. We had you on the show before to talk about it. Some people may not have seen the show. this is like your third career, at least to my knowledge. So Congress, Touro University, and now you want to run for mayor.
Yes. And don't forget, I served in the Nevada State Assembly.
Right.
No special sessions like there are now that we're going through at this time. And I was on the University Board of Regents, where, of course, I was very close friends with our mutual friend, Jill Derby, because we served together. I gave Touro University a one-year extension on my contract last June. And I said, let's make this the transitional year so that there is a smooth transition and I could leave knowing that we're in very good shape at Touro and that I can have great confidence in its future. And so a number of months ago, I knew that June 30th would be my last day at Touro, and I started thinking, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I have, as you know, an abundance of energy, and I enjoy good health, and I thought, what do I love to do? If you ask me what I love public service. And of course, you know, there's a reason for that, which we could get into. But I believe that you should do what you love for as long as you can. And I always wanted to be mayor of Las Vegas, but of course I was doing other things, and the city of Las Vegas was in very good hands over the last several decades, and so there was never an opportunity, nor would I have traded whatever I was doing, including being at Touro, for an opportunity to serve on the municipal level. And knowing that Carolyn will be retiring. She's termed out, and between Oscar and Carolyn, they have dedicated 25 years of their life. It is amazing, and I wanted to share with you just because this is something I admire very much. I take, as you know, public service very seriously. You serve the public. That's public service, not the other way around. And sometimes elected officials don't always keep that in mind. But when I was talking to Oscar, he said to me, he said, you know, in 25 years, we have never taken a vacation. They'll take a few extra days on a weekend to go down to Coronado or visit family, but the reality is that this has been their life and what they have been dedicated to serving for the last 25 years. I think that is something to emulate and admire. And so I conduct my affairs that way as well. And so I'm looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and if I'm lucky enough to be elected mayor, to continue a tradition of very hard work and public service.
All right, you dropped a little note there, which I want to pick back up on, which is you said if you want to hear the story about my journey into public service.
Well, I think this is something that you would relate to. As you know, I'm the granddaughter of immigrants that came to this country in order to escape the Holocaust. My mother's side of the family is from Greece, and in the city that they lived in, half of the population of Salonika was Jewish. By the 80,000 Jews. By the time the Nazis finished, there were 1,000 Jews left. I'm not presumptuous enough to think that my family, who were pretty poor, meager people, would have been among the 1,000 chosen to live. On my father's side of the family, very ironic, it's from the Russia-Poland border, but you know, the borders move around there quite a bit during World War I and World War II. It's right where they're fighting in Ukraine right now. That's where my family came from. So they managed to come to the United States, couldn't speak English, had no money, truly your huddled masses that the Statue of Liberty speaks of. And America not only gave us an opportunity to survive, if it wasn't for the United States, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. And I don't think my story is all that unique. But not only did we have an opportunity to survive, we thrived in America, and we particularly thrived here in Las Vegas. And as you know, my father was a waiter when I was growing up. On a waiter's salary, he made enough money to put a roof over our head, food on on the table, clothes on our back, 2 daughters through college, me through law school. That is, I think, wonderful for a man that had no education, never went beyond the 9th grade, my mother either, but for them to create the life that I have been able to lead is nothing short of extraordinary. And I am, I guess, humble enough to realize how blessed I am and how lucky I am. We never had money in our family, but there was a lot of love. And my mother was tough. I mean, it didn't matter if you were pretty or popular. It mattered that you got a good education so you could make something of yourself. And that's from a woman that I never saw out of her house coat. I mean, she was a stay-at-home mom. Her job was my sister and I, and she did a pretty good job. We both turned out very well.
I would say so. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Remember 2010 in Northern Nevada, 13 to 14% unemployment, thousands of homes in foreclosure, Nevada's casinos closing? Families in the Reno-Sparks area were hurting. Many were losing everything. Then Story County launched a game changer for our region, a public-private industrial partnership, streamlined permitting, slashed bureaucracy, attracting Fortune 500 companies that made Nevada their home. Story County generated a river of cash to area communities. Economic studies by the state and others for the Gigafactory consistently show positive economic benefits for our region. $4 billion in local wages, $17 billion in consumer spending and economic activity, over $100 million in taxes to Washoe, Story, Reno, Sparks, and Nevada, just for the Gigafactory alone. Story County, improving Northern Nevada one industry at a time.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Shelley Berkley. She's the former congresswoman and a candidate for mayor of Las Vegas. And for those who are watching this and saying, well, you haven't talked that much about the candidacy for the mayor of Las Vegas, we are delighted to have you come back and talk more about it. But I wanted people to understand, because you've had this incredible background, that I wanted people to know that it wasn't just somebody running for mayor.
No, I thank you very much for that. Look, my family has been here now for 60 years. I grew up in Las Vegas. There's 4 generations of my family have been here. Of course, my parents have passed, but we're now the older generation. My children and now my grandchildren, all growing up in Las Vegas. And part of why I'm running is with the eye to the future. What does Las Vegas want to look like? What do we want Las Vegas to look like a decade from now, where my little grandbabies are in middle school? What type of community do I want to leave them? What are the amenities? What are the good things? And I believe, Sam, that the next 10 years are going to be among the most successful and explosive in the history of Las Vegas.
Because
of the, well, we're going to get the A's. I'm 99% sure.
We're taping this on the 13th of June, so we'll see when we air this if you're right or not.
I would predict I think in a few years we're going to get an NBA team. There are young, visionary developers that are developing in downtown Las Vegas that are creating the most amazing hot spots and new spots and nightclubs and things that we never dreamed of when I was cruising back and forth on Fremont Street when I was at Valley High School. But it was going to bring in good paying jobs. I mean, in addition to the gaming industry, and you know, I know gaming very, very well.
Yes,
but
indeed.
For the last 10 years, I've been on the board of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. I think it's very important to diversify our economy. So as much as I love the gaming industry, and it is the engine that drives this economic train, the reality is that I favor diversification of our economy as well.
Okay, so I've got one quick question for you here. In the past, when I've had either of the Goodmans on the program as mayors, they have always said they wouldn't endorse anybody. Have they given you their endorsement?
No, I haven't thought to ask, but thank you for reminding me. Look, I think it would be very important. If I was advising Carolyn, I would say at this time in the campaign, you are working with at least 2 members of the city council, right, and there may be more before this is over, that are that have thrown their hat in the mayoral ring. She's got to work with them. And I think it is very important for her to be as fair-minded as possible. Now, what happens later on in the campaign, that's anybody's guess. But right now, she has to do her job, they have to do their job, and I am perfectly comfortable with that. But I will say I've known the Goodmans for at least 40 years. Oscar was president of the Temple when I was in my early 20s, starting my own family. So I know them well, I respect them, admire them, and love them.
Okay, so we are out of time for this show. But the next show I want you to come on and we'll talk about all the issues, some that you've raised and some that you haven't raised that we should discuss.
I will look forward to that, Sam.
Me too, and thank you for being here as always.
Thank you, Sam.
And we'll be right back. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's Development Company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com. Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Calamity. It lurks around every corner. Or not. That's why UMC Quick Care is around every corner, with locations around the valley. UMC Quick Care, for all your small calamities.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.